Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This is a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Colony. So in this episode, it's come down to it. The fact of the matter is, everyone, the Bowmans as well as Broussard and Morgan as well, need to get out because it's like for one, they need to get the device back. But having the device is fine and dandy, but that doesn't mean jack squat if you can't get out the block. So I mean that's one solution was to kind of worry about getting that dealt with. It's like this episode focused on them trying to find a way out. Which we also learned some things from the pilot in this episode that was kind of interesting. She talks about the fact is that out of this block that basically there's these drone walkers. So obviously like what we see in the LA is very contained because obviously you have someone like Helena, I keep doing that. She kind of makes sure everything kind of stays okay, that the LA block is kind of run a certain way. In particular, like, she lets Snyder kind of control. And people might have a problem with Snyder, but he kept things under control. He made sure that the host didn't get complete control, that there was some normalcy. That was his way of running it. And obviously his successor kind of does things to the same degree. But nevertheless, this whole episode is about, trying to deal with the whole, getting out. And the way they do that is with this group known as Blackjack. They're basically kind of like some top-level, well-trained dudes. Basically, they have vehicles because now, like, everything is on lockdown. Like, there's extra scrutiny to getting out. It's like there's it's not like as simple as like, because they try to reach out to this dude named Howard. He's like, yeah, I could help you, but the fact of the matter is it had to be someone else on the other side to kind of help you too. So it's like a situation where it's like there's fail-safes within fail-safes to kind of make sure no one gets through. Like I said, the security's beefed up, but the Blackjack vehicles were acted as a means of like they can just go through. So it's like if they were in there, they'd be able to all sneak out. So I'm just done running through some things. The first thing I want to just talk about is the fact is, very interesting thing is while he was inside of the truck, Broussard looks at the screen and he runs through it and there's like a whole bunch of profiles open up and he ends up coming across one in particular, that being Will's. And then it's like, and then it starts clicking in my brain, and then he explains it to Will. Will's like, they're looking out for all of us. He's like, no. Broussard brings it up later on, like, no, not like this. And then it clicks in my head. Because we also saw it at the beginning of the episode, kind of reiterating it more. The little capsule things that we saw kind of being sent off in that camp that Bram was at. Well, obviously, we saw someone at the very beginning getting put into one. Like, everyone else was dead, but this particular guy who was running that place, it was in, was it San Fernando? In the San Fernando block, but he was the one that was left, and he was put in that. And then it clicked in my head. That's what this has all been about. Will is whatever they're doing with those people, these are prime candidates. Like I said before, like maybe it was something like, they're trying to find the perfect bodies. They're looking for people that have the right skill set or something. And it seems like Will is one of those people they've taken an interest in. They want him badly. And then it clicked in my head. That's why the drone didn't kill him back when he was sneaking Charlie into the block. Why it killed everyone else, because they had a list and Will's name on. I was like, why is he so important? Because he's important in the sense that they want him for whatever it is that they're doing. Like I said, we don't know exactly what it is, but now it opens up a little bit more. And I'm also wondering, could this be why you have Proxy? I mean, I keep calling him Proxy because they kind of throw around his name, but Snyder, like obviously he's back. Helena's brought him in to kind of, because basically she's trying to like seize power from the current Proxy, Nolan's boss, because she doesn't trust him with the way he's running things. So it's kind of turning into a power play situation. And you basically have this intelligence group, the global intelligence group. They're investigating the whole Bowman family situation. And so, Snyder goes to Homeland's head office and talks to Will's boss. And it's like, basically tell him, it's like, hey, you want to be on the winning side of this. Like, because obviously he's like trying to like keep his job, trying to do the right thing. But he's like, I'm following the Proxy's orders. And he's like, the fact of the matter is, look at me. I'm back from the dead. So, yeah, why not be on my side? If I'm back and you see where I am right now, that should tell you that working with Helena is going to put you on the right side. So it is kind of like, it is a grab for power because Helena's trying to push him out of the way because it's just she doesn't like he's not playing ball. He's kind of got his own way of doing things. He's got his own agenda, and it's a situation where Helena does try to keep the balance. It's like, but the way that the Proxy's going about it, it's like, as she says, like she's avoided rendition for the LA block, but it's like going down his route. you know, because obviously he's spinning everything towards the whole, like, remember the whole ship that was carrying all those capsules and everything blew up. So it's a situation where it's kind of like, you know, he tried to spin it, make it, oh, the greatest day ever thing. So, but another part of this story I also really like this, the fact is the whole Katie and Maddie situation. Because the fact is, Katie's coming to Maddie, is like, yo, come with me. And Maddie's like, no. She's like, Katie's like, I'm trying to explain it to you. I'm doing all this for my family. The fact of the matter is, the flash drive was so, like, with the downloaded stuff on it, the fact is, it's talking about the block. But, like, Maddie didn't want to hear it. Maddie's like, no, I don't care. The fact is, you did steal it and you lied to me, essentially. It's like, the fact is, I wouldn't be in all this trouble if it wasn't for you. And Kay's trying to get it into Maddie's head that, like, hey, you should put so much faith in Nolan. And because the thing is, like, because it's something I actually always question, like, does she actually really love Nolan? Because Nolan was always a means to an end to me, I thought. It's just like, because it put her and Hudson in a good situation. Because really, obviously, she cares about Nolan, but I think obviously she cares about Hudson more. And so it's also about his future and why she's so... To me, that's why she was... I mean, obviously, because it's like, you know, their whole situation was fine. Obviously, his wife... her, you know, they had the whole situation back in season 1 that, like, oh, they can have fun just as long as she's around. And he kind of didn't want it like that. And Maddie was actually pissed. She's like, oh, the fact of the matter is this job means more to me. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it has grown to the point that she does have feelings, like strong feelings for Nolan. It does seem like she loves him. But, you know, it does beg the question, like, if Nolan's given a chance, would he betray her? And it's kind of hard to say because obviously his boss is like, yo, drop Maddie. She's trouble. The fact of the matter. You even had that global intelligence dude calling Maddie a liar. It's like, everything, how is she a liar? Everything she said was the truth. Not unless he was talking about the fact is that she's like, I didn't come to you guys because I was unsure. It's like, no, I guess in their mind, they're like, no, you knew your sister took it. You just didn't want to turn her in. And it was like, it wasn't a situation where you were unsure. You were definitely sure she took it. You just didn't want to turn her in. So, that's where, I mean, at least that's what I'm thinking. But it was a very messed up situation where, like, Nolan did surprise me. He's like, okay, you're going to have to do this, but the fact is you're going to have to follow exactly what I said. So it's like he is trying to, because he does care about her. But once again, it's like he sold out his own wife. What's to say he won't sell out Maddie? But I guess this kind of shows you that Maddie does mean more to him. So basically, initially, Katie was like, okay, send me a signal if you're going to, if you need me to get you and Hudson kind of underground so that we can all leave the block together. And basically Maddie uses that signal as a means to kind of trap Katie. But the moment she gets back to the place, he's like, you know, you have Nolan be like, how did it go? She didn't say anything. And she just kind of walked and you see the tears kind of welling up in her eyes, especially when Katie called. She was even hesitant to answer the phone, but she finally did. And she's crying the entire time. Because she didn't want to do it, because it's a situation where it's like, she can't, like, because she even said to herself, she's like, oh, I don't care, like, I hope I never get to see Katie again. It's like, she was pissed at Katie, not to the point that she want her sister captured, because the fact of the matter is her sister would most likely get tortured, might even get sent to the factory, maybe even straight up dead. But once again, being sent to the factory might be worse than dying, at least, you know, to some people's case, so... But you see Maddie just kind of broken up about it. I mean, it sucks because Katie, like, originally Will was like, okay, you don't have to do this. We can find another way. But for Katie, she's like, I don't know whether she's really reaching out for help or she's up here trying to betray us. But at the very least, I have to take this opportunity to see for herself, to see where her sister's loyalties lie. And it seems like, sadly, her sister chose Nolan over her. It's what that really comes down to. And it's so heartbreaking because it's like, it's a situation where it's like family's supposed to come first, you know? Because Nolan kept saying that. I kept bringing that up. Like, I brought that up previously, how Nolan's like, oh, you know, you should put your own family first. It's like, they are her family. You're the one that's not technically family. It's like, you know, I don't know. Because even Maddie, like, I mean, because truth be told is, how much does Maddie really know about the whole situation, about what's going to eventually happen to the LA block? I mean, like I said, Katie tried to explain it to her, but Maddie kind of cut her off. So I'm guessing, even with their high knowledge, it makes you wonder how much does Nolan really know? How much does... I mean, I would assume Nolan would know just because he is, like, second in command to the proxy and everything. So I would assume also that Maddie might also know, being, you know, with Nolan and everything. So maybe she brushed Katie off because she already knew it. I mean, I don't know. You would think she wouldn't be all okay with it. I mean, because this also obviously affects Hudson, which is like, I feel like that's the main reason behind all of this, because she doesn't want to jeopardize the future that, you know, Hudson might have. So... And then she even asked Nolan in the episode, it's like, Katie and the others got away. And in fact, there's some of the Blackjacks, at least that's the title that everyone kind of refers to them at. No, not them, but it's kind of the unofficial title for them. But it's like, some of them, a lot of them were wiped out. So it's like, she's like, so what happens to us now? And as Nolan's like, I don't know. Because the fact of the matter is, Nolan did this as a last ditch move. He put himself as well as Maddie out there. It's like, okay, don't worry, we got Maddie kind of, and she'll get her sister brought in, and this way you can see that she is loyal. But now that Katie's gotten away now, and there's deaths on top of it, now it could be like, now is the type of situation where we really get to see where Nolan's loyalty stand. Will he completely disavow her like his boss wanted to from the beginning? Like, obviously, when presented an opportunity before, he's still strong beside her. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes down from here. Because also, the real reason why he wanted Nolan, like his boss wanted Nolan to drop it, is because it's like the whole power struggle between him and Helena. And so it's like he doesn't need this whole Katie situation kind of coming back to bite him in the ass, and kind of he doesn't need any dirt, rising up some questions, and that he has to answers and stuff. So he's trying to keep his nose as clean as possible. So it really breaks my heart that it fell, because I was hoping that on some level, like when she was on the phone, she warns Katie at the last second, Katie, it's a trap, I'm sorry, and let her know. And then Katie's like, don't worry, like the fact is you're my sister. The fact is she hasn't completely lost faith in her sister, but now it seems like she has, because now it's just like because I don't know what I think. I wonder, does Maddie realize now, like after it's all said and done, that Katie figured out that she was lying to her? I mean, maybe she just thinks like, oh yeah. I mean, because Nolan did say like it was an ambush. So, but the fact is, Katie was heartbroken by it too, and was just, but she did still say, "I love you." So I was kind of hoping she'd say, "Maddie, I want you to know, no matter what, the fact is you're still my sister, and I love you." And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's going to change, but I mean, it's definitely going to put a strain on the relationship. The fact is, like, oh, you sold me out. You didn't have to do that. It's because everything I've done, everything Katie has done, has been for her family. It's like you won't always agree with how she's went about things, working with the resistance and everything, but it's always been for the sake of her family. Like, she was doing the right thing. I mean, and it seems like, as we can see, she is on the right side of things. And because even in season 1, it's kind of hard to be able to be like, obviously there's a part of you that's like, no, you should be on the resistance side, but at the same time, it's like, oh, all the problems you cause us, it's like, maybe you should, like, to me, I was very divided when it came to it. It's like, I don't really know whose side I want to be on. Will's with the, being a collaborator, or Katie being on the resistance. I didn't really know where my loyalty stood, but now I feel like it's 100% on the side of like, oh yeah, stand with the resistance, especially with what the hosts have planned going forward. So, but what I find very interesting too is it's kind of an interesting thing that I've noticed, that like obviously Broussard and Will being kind of civil around each other. It's like there's always been that thing between them, but now like they're on the same side, working together, just kind of acknowledging each other. Like there's no, I mean, granted, until the end of the episode where like Will's like, yo, we need to get out of the block, and Broussard's like, no, we've got to wait. Which I 100% agree with Broussard, especially because of what he told Broussard, what Broussard told Will about the whole like capsule situations that go into space thing. It's like, yeah, like Broussard's right, you need to wait, because the fact of the matter is, acting now will only get, I mean, you're just going to be, eventually, because they're not going to let you go easily, especially if you're a target. They're definitely not going to let you go, which, like I said, I'm wondering, is that really the real reason why you have Snyder asking about Will and stuff like that? Because because even one of those global guys was like, okay, wait, Anthony, why did you take such an interest in Will? He was like, because you had Snyder being like, oh yeah, like, because hiring someone like Will wasn't really in his job range. It's like, as a proxy, that was kind of something below him. So it's like, why would you do that? He's like, oh, because I saw potential. And now I'm literally, as I was saying that, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, could Snyder have known the entire time about this? Did he always know Will was a potential, especially when he ran into Will and it's like, oh, back in season 1 when he's like, now I see who you are, and like looked at the database, hey, he's one of the people they want. So he wanted to keep Will close, monitor him, and make sure that he really was a proper candidate or something like that. But now that I'm sitting here thinking about his words being like, oh, he had potential, it's like, and why he's asking all those questions is because he knew ahead of time about Will's circumstances. Even back then, they just didn't bother taking him then. It doesn't beg the question, why wait till now? Maybe certain people take priorities. Maybe they just, I don't know. Like I said, maybe they had to watch him long enough to see whether he was worthy or not. I don't know. Hopefully that's something we get an answer to soon enough. And the final note I want to bring up about the episode is Bram in the situation. Bram wants to be useful, but he can't fight because his family, obviously, it's something he talks about. It comes up later on in the episode. It's just, the fact is, he's their son. He's talking to Morgan because Morgan's just kind of stuck inside all the time. It's like, don't you want to go outside? She's like, well, the fact is, I know my place. I'm not well trained. All I can do is do what I'm good at, and that's the least I can do. But, Bram wants to do more, but he's like, my family doesn't trust me. They're not letting me help out when I can do stuff. I can help out. It's like you are helping out by being there to make sure that your brother and sister are okay. But for him, that's just not enough. It's like, no, I can help. I can make a big difference. Especially he felt like that in season 1, but he even feels it more so now because of everything he went through in that labor camp. Which it took an interesting turn because he ends up leaving and going to Maya's house and telling who I can assume is Maya's mom about the fact is that she's gone, that she died for what she fought and died for what she believed. And he even found that book of hers that has all those drawings. But I really like the art style of those drawings. So it's like Maya was a very good artist. Obviously, someone else had to draw those most likely for it to be used in the show. So whoever really drew those did a very good job. I just like the design of what the characters look like. But nevertheless, taking that to heart, but the fact is his family kind of treats him like, oh, like he's not ready for this. You do have Bram visiting Karen later on and kind of cementing the fact. Because I was wondering, I was like, okay, so is he going to meet with the Red Hands? I'm still questioning it a little bit. I'm like, is he meeting with them because he's trying to help out his family, or is he joining with them because his family he wants to make a difference, and he's like, my family won't help me? Because like the fact of the matter is, Bram is the perfect candidate for like who they normally would go after. They go after people, as we know in particular, boys who are lost, so they're easier to manipulate. Granted, they have someone there to kind of manipulate them, like Frankie was there to kind of draw in boys that were, felt abandoned and weak and needed someone there to make them feel okay, to make them feel strong, to make them feel needed, to make them feel loved. And because they felt alone and abandoned, kind of feeling that void in their heart and kind of using them. So I'm wondering, is it like, does Karen, she's like, oh, your parents should see you as their son, but I see you as so much more. And it's like, it does seem like her words are getting to Bram. So the question is, like I brought up, is Bram doing this for the sake of his family because he knows? I mean, granted, Bram probably doesn't know the whole story, which is why he's doing this. The fact of the matter is, literally, this same person that you're about to work for literally sent people to come kill your mom and dad, and would have most likely killed your brother and sister too. So quick to jump and try to prove yourself. It's like, take some time to sit back and learn something first. It's just like, I understand you want to feel useful and you feel like you're just sitting on the sidelines and not doing anything. The fact is, you want to fight to protect your family. You want to fight to do the right thing. But it's like, sometimes it's not always the best thing to act, because it's like, let's not forget how you ended up in that situation, in that camp in the first place, because you wanted to do something more. You went under the wall and got caught, and things played out the way they did. It's like, you've gotten even more stubborn, Bram. So I'm hoping on everything he is doing this for the sake of his family, but granted, most likely what's going to be the case is that he is doing this because he legitimately believes them. I hope it's going to be like, because that's where I mainly lean, but I'm hoping I'm 100% wrong, and it turns out he's like, oh no, Mom, I got in good with them, so now we can be able to get what we need and kind of get out of here some. Because for Bram, he doesn't want to run. He kind of wants to stand and fight. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I kind of put my piece out there on where I stand on that. So, overall, a very, very good episode. And I'm super excited to see where next episode takes up with these new developments we've learned. Especially just like the whole wheel situation. What is it they're doing with those people in those tubes? And why these specific people? So many questions. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.